Batman and Alfred have been set up by Black Mask and are now trying to escape both the party animals and the Gotham City police. Will they be able to get to safety? Welcome to the Comicstorian Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to support the industry and go check them out at your local comic shop. Absolute Batman continues today as we see this new Batman's origin story and attempts to save Gotham while Black Mask and his party animals continue to wreak havoc. So let's go ahead and jump in to Absolute Batman issue number 3 by Scott Snyder. I hope you enjoy. In the past, Selina Kyle leads young Bruce Wayne across the rooftops, shouting for him to be careful and follow her. She walks a quick tightrope across a cable connecting two buildings and looks back at him with a smile. "Are you crazy? We could die!" Bruce shouts as she looks back at him with a smile, but she shakes her head. "Bruce, it's only 2 stories. At most, you'd break a leg or 2, she tells him. He looks down in fear, but Selina waves her arms to get his attention, telling him to focus on her and only her. Don't see the drop. Don't see anything past this ledge right here, she tells him. Bruce nods and begins to make his way across, but he slips at the last moment, his arms pinwheeling as he begins to fall. But Selina reaches out and grabs his hand, pulling him to safety. "Look at me," she says softly. "You're okay," she tells him as they walk across the rooftop, still holding hands. Present day. There is a roar of a massive engine as the Bat dump truck roars down the Gotham Broadway. Alfred pushes open the doors that were once attached to an elevator and looks around in astonishment. "What the hell are you doing? You can't just plow straight through the city. They'll overtake us in no time," he shouts at Batman. Behind them, there is a roar of motorcycles as the party animals give chase, pulling free weapons and cheering with joy at the excitement. "You'd better talk fast," Batman growls, reminding Alfred that he has 30 seconds to plead his case. But Alfred is distracted as the party animals open fire and bullets begin to bounce around him. "In my field, there are rumors of a man called Black Mask," Alfred shouts as he draws his pistol and returns fire, explaining that Black Mask funds terrorism, government destabilization, and violent disruption throughout the world. "I believe that Roman Sionis, the leader of the party animals, may be the Black Mask," Alfred shouts over the sound of his pistol thundering in his hands. 25 seconds, Batman growls. His eyes widen as one of the party animals pulls out a rocket launcher and fires, but the Bat truck suddenly swerves, screeching around a corner. Alfred reloads and keeps firing, tagging several of the gang members. "Bloody hell, we need to abandon this thing and find a vehicle that can go fast," Alfred shouts. Inside the cockpit, Batman almost seems to smile in the shadows. "I'll pretend you didn't say that," he says as he taps a button. Alfred looks around in surprise at the screech of hydraulics, and suddenly, the dump truck transforms into a high-speed monster truck. "You have 20 seconds, if you manage to hold on," Batman calls as he steps on the gas, and the monster truck's engine belches flames as they speed down the road. The party animals push their vehicles to keep up, still firing at Alfred as he pulls himself inside the truck. "Listen to me, damn it! I can help you!" Alfred snaps. Batman nods. "Prove it. 15 seconds, he calls. Alfred drops down into a gun turret and activates the weapons. He opens fire, the machine guns firing mini bat projectiles with an electrical charge, stunning and taking out the vehicles of their pursuers. "If Sionis is Black Mask, then he's too big to fight, too dangerous," Alfred shouts, but Batman shakes his head. "I'll build bigger then. 10 seconds, he growls. But Alfred disagrees. He continues to fire as he suggests that Batman take the deal that Sionis offered him, to stand down for 1 week. and receive a reward. Quit! Forget it! Batman snaps. He taps another button, and a massive wrecking ball on a chain drops out of the back of the monster truck. It bounces along behind them, taking out several of the party animal vehicles. Alfred shakes his head in amazement, and he turns back to Batman, explaining that Batman won't be quitting. He can take whatever Sionis pays him for the deal and use it to build stronger, better, save lives through diplomacy. You can set up Batman as something real in Gotham, something with impact, Alfred says, explaining that his employers will gather intel on Black Mask's activities in Gotham and eventually take him down. We all win, Alfred says. Batman suddenly hits the brakes, and the monster truck screeches to a halt. Alfred looks out through the ball turret and realizes that they are now surrounded by police at the end of the Gotham Pier. There's no way back, and the bay is in front of them. Alfred readies himself and turns back to the radio. We make a decent team, kid. Tell me you have something to get us out of this one, and let's keep it going, Alfred calls. Batman pauses for a moment before nodding. The lever in front of you, he instructs. Alfred reaches down for the lever and pulls it, and the ejector seat is activated, and Alfred is launched into the air, splashing down in the bay in surprise. Batman hits the gas, and the monster truck launches off the pier and disappears into the bay. Back in the past, Bruce and Selina finally arrive at one of her favorite roofs. A small gathering of cats come out to welcome them, purring as Selina sits amongst them. I heard you're in a new place. How is it? Bruce asks. Selina shakes her head and continues to pet her friends. Not there anymore, she says, explaining that while people like the idea of fostering a child, they don't usually like the reality. Well, where are you now? Bruce asks as he pets the cats around him. Selina smiles and looks up. I'm here with you and them. I come up here and these guys, they always show up, purring, she says with a smile. After a while, the two continue their journey, finally arriving at an old movie theater. So, why are we here? Really? Bruce asks as they walk inside. Selina smiles and motions to a row of seats. Because I want to show you something, she says softly. Suddenly, the movie begins to play, and Zorro appears on the screen. Anger flashes across Bruce's eyes as he glares at her. What do you think you're doing? He snaps. In the present, Bruce is sitting in the workshop of his friend, Edward Nygma. Edward motions to his robot that he has hooked up to the party animal ape skull mask. Ask away, Bruce, Edward says with a smile as the robot turns its glowing eyes upon Bruce. I came to talk to you, man, Bruce says, but Edward shakes his head, explaining that the robot, who he calls Al, has a map of Edward's brain and contains 4/5 of all human knowledge. Bruce sighs and finally agrees. How do the party animals' ape skulls work? He asks. Al explains that the mask has 3 functions. It protects the wearer's identity from all global deciphering means. It creates a wallet for the wearer that is connected to a highly protected network of cryptocurrency called Blackcoin, and it provides objectives and targets to the wearer that they can complete for payment. All members of the party animals can get quite wealthy, quite quickly, Al explains. Bruce nods. How would someone disrupt this network? He asks. But Al motions to the monitors nearby, and images from around the world begin to appear. The network is far too expansive for anyone to bring down, he says, explaining that the satellites are connected around the world. Bruce ponders on this and then shakes his head. There has to be some way, he says softly. But Edward steps forward, suggesting that they merely destroy the mask and forget all about this. He doesn't want to help you, Bruce, even if he could, Al explains. But Edward shakes his head, explaining that he is merely looking out for Bruce's well-being. Suddenly, Bruce's phone buzzes. He answers it to hear Harvey Dent's voice. Harvey explains that he looked into the ARC M Fund and discovered that a lot of it comes from a company called JK Holdings. Highly diversified around the globe, but they specialize in building secure facilities, private prisons, Bruce. And not just ordinary ones either. Black sites, Harvey says, whispering so that no one in his office hears him talking about this. Meanwhile, Commissioner Harvey Bullock is meeting former Mayor Hill on board a yacht at the docks. Hill smiles widely and holds out a hand. "Welcome! I appreciate you agreeing to meet with me," Hill says. Bullock shakes his hand, but doesn't smile. "You're not getting my endorsement, Hill. If that's why you invited me here, you can forget it," Bullock says. But Hill shakes his head and motions to the yacht. "Whoa! Slow down, Commissioner. I'm not trying to steal you away from old Jimmy. I just wanted to introduce you to a friend of mine," Hill says. At that moment, Dr. Benjamin appears at the top of the walkway on the boat. "Mr. Sionis is waiting in the body room," Dr. Benjamin says from behind his dark goggles. He leads them through the ship into a training room, where Roman Sionis is sparring with former heavyweight champ, Bibbo Bibowski. Bullock watches as the much smaller Sionis easily brings down the former champ. While Sionis is fighting, he explains to Bullock that he is a professional pacifist. "I help bring peace to troubled areas of the world," Sionis says as he grabs hold of Bibbo's arm and snaps it at the elbow. "Good places where the people are being taken advantage of by bad people. And this city, it could use some peace these days. Bad people are tearing Gotham apart," Sionis says. He scrambles across the mat and wraps his arms around Bibbo's neck and begins to squeeze. "You have to get things under control. My people can get you plenty of choppers and tactical vehicles, all through state channels, all above board. So, what do you say?" Sionis asks, ignoring Bibbo as he tries to tap out, and his eyes begin to go red. "All right, man, he's had enough, damn!" Bullock shouts. Sionis nods and releases Bibbo, allowing him to collapse to the floor. He stands, barely breathing heavily, and reaches for his robe. "Don't worry about him, Commissioner. He'll be fine. Now come, let's talk about peace," Sionis says as he motions Bullock and Hill out of the room. In the past, Bruce stands and is about to leave the theater, but Selina reaches for him. "I'm leaving," Bruce snaps. But his other friends are suddenly there, grabbing him and pulling him back into the theater seats, candy and popcorn in their hands. "The hell you are," Oswald says with a smile as Edward throws popcorn at them. "Popcorn attack!" Bruce finally relents and they all sit down. They laugh and shout, enjoying being kids for a moment. In the back row, Martha Wayne smiles for a moment as Bruce enjoys his life again. Present day. Martha comes into the kitchen to find her son sitting and eating his breakfast. "Bruce, you scared me. What is it, honey? What's on your mind?" she asks. But Bruce explains that he was just in the neighborhood and stopped by to say hello. She raises an eyebrow, not fully believing him, but explains that she has to head out. "I was just thinking that maybe with all the chaos in the city, you could kind of, I don't know, lie low," Bruce suggests. But Martha shakes her head, explaining that she is stepping up to help Mayor Gordon as deputy mayor. "The chaos is exactly why I can't lie low, Bruce," she tells him. Bruce becomes angry, telling his mother that she is just painting a bullseye on her back. "I believe in what Jim is trying to do, and I'm going to try and help. That's who we are, who I am, who your father was," Martha reminds him, and Bruce glares at her. "And look how it turned out for him," he snaps. Martha glares right back at her son before putting her hands on his shoulders. "I'm going to kiss you now, so I don't slap you," she says before leaning down and kissing him on the top of his head. "Goodbye, Bruce. Clean up when you're done," she whispers before walking out and leaving him in the kitchen. The next day, Former Mayor Hill holds a press conference announcing that Police Commissioner Bullock has endorsed his run for the mayor of Gotham, and Hill points out the chaos and crime in the city. That night, terror and fire spread in the darkness of Gotham as the party animals continue their war. Later, Bruce sits in another of his bunkers, this one at the old Gotham Zoo, now shut down. He's plugged into the party animal mask and hears Sionis's voice coming from his phone. That's right, 200 million to stand down for 1 week, and I'll make sure we go a little bit easier on Gotham. I hope you're smiling just thinking about it, Sionis offers. Bruce doesn't respond and sits there thinking. Think about all the good Batman could do with that kind of money. The cars, the weapons, the tech. He'll be larger than life, Sionis continues. Finally, Bruce interrupts him. Enough. I'll take the deal, he finally says. And that is where we leave today's story. What does Bruce agree to? And what will Sionis do with his 1 week in Gotham without Batman? You'll have to subscribe to the channel to get notified when the next issue comes out. And let me know what you thought of today's story down below in the comments. And be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. And we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.